Hi, friends. Welcome to Enlightened World Network. We are so excited to have Michele Landers here today for our new month numerology forecast, November 2022. What a fast year. This is quick. But Michele, thank you so much for being here and cannot wait to hear what November's bringing us.
Are you excited? Are you really excited?
I'm really excited because I'm on 2023 here as quick as possible. So bring it on, baby.
Okay, I will bring it on, baby. I just wanted to mention, it's so funny. This has nothing to do with, and thank you so much. I love EWN, you know that. And thank you for allowing me to present this information. But you notice my little cowgirly.
I love it.
I've been watching Yellowstone, so all of a sudden I want to be a cowgirl and I want to meet a cowboy. So I'm putting it out there because, you know, it takes place in Montana, right?
Yeah.
So, but we're not going to talk about that this morning, although I would love to discuss Yellowstone with someone. So we have a very interesting month, as if any other month this year wasn't interesting. They all hold their precious gifts, don't they? For sure. November is going to prove to be quite an enlightening, exciting, maybe a little scary, maybe not so scary, but changeable month. We have a lot going on. And I always double check things. Not so much the numbers, but because I know that energy manifests in so many different ways. So I get clues from not just numerology, but astrology. And I have to say that mainly what I check out is Pam Gregory, who I think is phenomenal as an astrologer. And so I double check a lot of her what she's saying about, you know, the transits, which seem to align so perfectly with the numerology. So let's get started. And I also throw in the tarot cards as well. So where do we begin with this really, really interesting month? And I would say that probably there is this big celestial event going on. And we'll talk a little bit about that after I talk about the numbers. And let me just get this stuff straightened out here. So I have some tarot cards too. So we have a few dates to pay attention to this month. But first, I want to talk about the overall energy of the month. So by itself, November is what? It's the 11th month. So November with its 11 energy, and for those of you who are familiar with numerology, and even if you're not, 11 is a master number in numerology. And what does that mean? 11, any of the master numbers bring like a higher vibration. And a higher vibration is something that attempts to raise our vibration. So things with the 11 can help us to raise our vibration, tune in more to our spiritual self, to connect more with, you know, behind the veil, to go behind the veil, to lift the veil just a bit. So the numbers that we're going to be, oh, and also 11 is surprise happenings, which it's really so interesting because guess what? Uranus is a big player this month, and Uranus vibrates to the number 11. So the world is in a 6 year, which is starting to fade out. So some of the energy of the upcoming 7 year for the world will start making its way into our energy field. And 7, by the way, is a very highly spiritual number. So we will, and by the way, the United States is going into a 9-year. So what's coming up is going to be really, I believe it's going to be a turning point for sure with the world, with the United States. But we will definitely be talking about that in January 1st. But in the meantime, the world right now is in a 6-year. When you add the number 6 to the number 11, even though November stands alone with the number 11, surprise happenings, Uranus energy, high spirituality coming in. When you add the 11 to the 6, what do you get? You get the number 17. So and when you add 1 and 7 together, what do you arrive at? You arrive at 8. But I wanted to show you, or show everyone, this tarot card. And you guys, oh, it's hard to see with the background like this. You can't see it. Okay, so I will just tell you about it. So the 17 in the tarot card is the star card. That's a beautiful, just a beautiful card. And it's emotional, it's sensitive to the higher realms of energy. And again, that's what I would want to use the word bombarded, but I want a gentler word than bombarded. We're being pulled towards and attracted to the higher energy fields, which is so normal because we are moving into this 5D vibration. So 11, the numbers that we're dealing with this month are 1 and 7 and 6 and 8 and 17. And those are the primary numbers. So we know that November is always an 11 month, and by itself, November tends to bring some surprises of some sort, or however the world has been going for the year. November often throws us something different or surprising. And whether that is in the financial sector or in the government, but it does throw us surprises. So we usually think of high energy as being happy and joyful and optimistic. And yes, it is all of those things and more. More in the sense of the very, very special and beneficial spiritual aspects of 11. But that is if you're wanting to raise your vibration. So people ask me, well, what does all that mean? This energy, vibration stuff. I know that most of the listeners at AWN are familiar with it, but I just wanted to go over it briefly because I think it might give it a little more clarity to it. So everything we know is made up of atoms. Atoms are in a constant state of motion. And depending on the speed of these atoms, things in our world appear either solid, liquid, or gas. Now, the higher or the faster that the atoms vibrate, the less solid they are. So when we raise our vibration to a higher level, we are able to access higher realms of the spirit world. And it's that feeling of connection. It's recognizing signs and symbols from the universe, from God, from the angels. And for some people, it even means seeing these higher realms. And most people, can just feel it. I know that I can sense the changes. If you pay a little attention, if we pay more attention to our bodies in the sense of just stopping, slowing down, we can feel energy, but we have to get quiet. We have to stop and we have to sit in quietude for a bit. So the more we work on loving ourselves, the higher our vibration rises and the easier it is to connect with the higher vibration beings and realms. And, we all possess this ability to reach these high levels through appreciation, through forgiveness, through joy, through meditation, and most importantly, through love. So you may not realize that, but loving yourself more can also open the door to this higher spiritual realm. So the star card is one of my favorites because it's bright and it's hopeful and it's a positive card. And it follows that frightening Tower card from last month where looks like everybody was jumping out of the windows. And surely October, was a rocky month, but the energy for November is a higher vibration as opposed to last month's pullback of energy. So what does the star card do? It invites us to be more hopeful. It's a magical type of energy. And it also resonates with the number 1, which is stepping into your power, knowing you have the tools to accomplish what you want. And if we're able to look at the number 1 card of the tarot, the Magician, it tells us it's like from the Wizard of Oz, you had the power all the time, that we have all the tools at our disposal. It's just that we don't always have that faith or belief. So the 11 master number, which is surprising and sometimes upheavals, but also enlightening, the double ones, independence, confidence, and that's combined with the number 7, which is trust and managing our sensitivities. And if you add 1 and 7 together, again, it equals 8. And the 8 is about authority, finances, power, accomplishment, asserting yourself. So it's this kind of let's get down to business type of energy. And honestly, I think we're all going to be feeling a little bit more inspired to take steps to move forward in our lives. It's like the end of the year is here. What is it going to be for next year? I want to get my stuff together. So the theme for the world this month, the 8 is strongly aspected: leadership, strength, responsibility, abundance. Okay, all of that sounds great. Here's the flip side of the 8. We have to be careful. And of course, this is not just for us individually, it's for the world, not to be greedy, money hungry, pushy, defensive, arrogant. We don't want to be that bully. So I believe, because we don't live in this perfectly balanced world, that along with some of the aspects, those wonderful aspects that I just described, there is going to be this pushiness or this defensiveness or this arrogance. So issues, again, 1 and 7 equals 8, and I'm going to focus a little bit on the 7. So issues of fairness, truth, law are also going to be issues this month. People are going to be called to account for their actions because 8 is also karmic. So here's the trick, guys. If you're in alignment with your higher self and for the greater good of others, we have nothing to worry about. So I'm not so sure about the world as a whole, though. So what I'm just saying is that these issues of trust and justice are definitely going to be evident. So we just want to really tune in, as we always do. I'm not telling you anything new. I just want everyone to be much more conscious about their staying in this space of honesty and truth and love. So as most months this past year, there's always been some type of focus on financial affairs, but I think it should be, dare I say it, mostly positive for finances. The big, however, is this lunar eclipse that I'll talk about in a minute, which can really shake things up. But money, money vibrates, 8 vibrates to money and power. And I just have this sense that it's going to be a decent month for money. Well, we'll see what happens, right? And then next month I'll say, yeah, I knew that, or well, I was off, but I don't think so. So November is a for the US, November. I was going to say, where did I get that? The one personal year from? Where did I get that from? Okay. So for the United States, though, because the United States is in an 8 personal year, and an 8 is overall about money and power and karmic. So a lot of the things, as a reminder, that we're experiencing comes from the karmic energy that we've put out in the last 8 years and beyond, because in numerology, everything cycles in not in a 9. Everything is in a 9 cycle. So next year we'll be in a 9 cycle, and then we get an opportunity to start all over again. So we're reaping the rewards as well as the challenges of the karma that we put out for the last 8 years. So the number 1, and again, because November is the number 11, 1 and 1 is 2, add that to the 8 universal year, not the universal year, but the year for the United States. 8 and 2 is 10, 1 and 0 is 1. That's where I got the 1 from. So the number 1 this month for us is about new beginnings. The number 8 is about power, manifestation on the physical and the material plane. So it should be a better time for businesses and finances. It's a time to be decisive and adventurous. It's not a time to be conservative. It's a time to be courageous. It's a time to be original. It's not a time to be fearful. It's not a time to be stubborn or judgmental. So the question for all of us is, what new things do we want to bring into our life? It's a great time to think about, okay, I'm going to be brave. I'm going to be fearless. I'm going to go for the gold. So it is a power month without a doubt. And when the 8 shows up in a chart, it's also time for balancing. So this can apply to close relationships as well as finances. It is a really, really good time to straighten out your finances and other financial dealings. So overall, it's a positive combination of confidence, power, possible promotion, security, and somehow money connected to homes and real estate or housing. So we're going to hear more about the housing market for sure. So probably, and I'll get into more of the challenges of that 8. So that's all the good things that the 8 can bring and the 11 could bring. So we want to really feel those, that energy, those pieces, and be really centered and practice all those practices that we do as far as meditation or Tai Chi or any of those, yoga. We want to really stay very focused on that this month, because we have an opportunity, as I said, to reach those higher realms much easier. So I really want to drive that point home. So probably the biggest celestial event of the year and the headliner this month, because there's so much astrological noise going on. All astrologers, what are they talking about? The eclipse that occurs on November 8th, interesting for the US, as a big shakeup, lots of action, a huge concentration of energy, and even some rebellion, which I'm going to get into. So it's I'm going to do what I want to do type of energy from some people. It's going to stir that up. Now, not only is November 8th the election day, but we have this eclipse, and it's a full lunar eclipse in Taurus conjunct Uranus. So I think any astrologer would agree that that could make for an intense and unpredictable day. So what I'm hearing is something's going to happen at the eclipse that we're not expecting. It could be some shocking events, but it could be after the fact as well, because the energy of the eclipse, although it's highlighted on that particular day, I would say that we're going to start feeling it a little bit now and even a little bit after. But the biggest impact should be on November 8th. So the thing about an eclipse, it is highly transformative portals of energy. So eclipses tend to bring endings, they tend to bring shifts, but also quantum leaps into new states of being. They can reveal things, expose the truth, change the direction that we've been traveling on. And this is also a blood moon eclipse, which it just always is, you know, when we have this November eclipse, which I'm not happy about that. But it is one of the most potent kind that we experience. So it's safe to say we'll all be doing some up-leveling of our soul in November, unless you're not going to be in tune with that energy. So let's talk just a little bit about Taurus, though, because Taurus is money and currency, it's banking, it's wealth. It's our sense of security, our sense of safety. And Scorpio, that's the other piece here. That's why I'm saying it's just this celestial, I don't want to say bomb because that gives the wrong impression, but it is so power-packed, let's put it that way. So Scorpio, which is very intense, is also about money and mortgages and debts and pensions and stock market. And power is also has to do with Pluto, and Pluto rules Scorpio. So we can expect these probably long-held secrets emerging. Uranus is the planet of truth and clarity. So again, with the 11, with the eclipse, we can probably hear about some big surprises or shocking news out of the blue. So we're going through a real intensification of emotions. And again, I will repeat it again and again. It's so important for us to stay as centered as we can. And Taurus is about being steady. It's grounded. It's about material aspects and money. And Uranus, well, Uranus likes to shake things up, so we can expect financial surprises. Hidden emotions come to the surface. And again, this is for the United States, this is for the world, this is for us. And there might be a general sense of a little bit uneasiness. So I want people to be aware of that. It's not you, it's what's going on in the stars. So we will probably experience heightened emotions. I just talked to two people, by the way, and one of them was my daughter. And she had this very intense dream last night where, she was connected with that other realm, that higher realm. And I heard that from somebody else just this morning. So that's not shocking or surprising to me. So we have this sense of heightened emotions, and we will manifest it in different ways. If you are centered, if you are practicing whatever modalities you are to raise your vibration, it's going to bring more love, more positive energy into your life, heightened spirituality. If you're not, it's going to bring anger, impulsiveness as well. So we don't want to be on that side of it. It's not a real stable energy, and it can bring some physical upheavals, which when I say physical, I'm also referring to obviously the physical earth, like earthquakes, extreme weather, which we've been experiencing for a while now, but also emotional earthquakes. So that looks pretty likely on the 8th, and again around the 8th. I'm sorry to say, but there might be outbursts, some disagreements, fighting, civil disputes. It's all of this earthquake type of energy, and especially on the 8th. And Pam Gregory also mentions that the classic signs of earthquakes and volcanoes or seismic activity is when there is a square between Saturn and Uranus, and particularly when it's in a fixed sign such as Taurus, which it is. So the number 11 and Uranus are fast moving, so it can bring very quick and surprising happenings or disruptions. And we're going to experience, in all likelihood, some exaggerated responses. We also might feel like, okay, I want to do something different. I want to break free of these things. So it's a mixed bag of emotions and happenings. So some very good things will happen and some disturbing things. The government might make some kind of an announcement that's not going to be very well received. However, on the other hand, I think that Biden is going to announce something sometime in around November that actually is very beneficial and attracts more support for him for whatever reason. But it's something, with astrology and numerology, we can't always pinpoint exactly what that will be, but the energy around it. So again, there's going to be hidden stories released. There's this buildup of explosive type of energy. And I don't know if explosive means in the very physical sense, and I hope not, but it can mean, people emoting, very feeling emotionally explosive. So another thing I just wanted to mention as an aside, it's been 9 months since the Ukraine-Russia war broke out. And I'm just wondering what type of shift is going to happen this month, because it's a I don't want to say trigger point. It's a kind of a crossover point, because as I said, things cycle in 9. So I'm not sure what's going to happen this month, but something's going to happen with Ukraine and Russia. I would love for it to be an ending, but if not, it could be another 9 months, because then we'll be into 18 months. So I just wanted to mention that because I'm really curious about what's going to happen with that. And I'm hoping, as we all are, that it comes to an end. Dear God, I hope it comes to an end. So it is a time of self-discipline. We have to think about, and I have to tell you before I even finish that statement, that energy, I've been in that energy for about a week or two now without even thinking about it, because I hadn't even done this yet. And I said, oh, wow, right. That's exactly what I'm going through. So what self-disciplines do we need to put in place to move ourselves forward in whatever realm that might be? Now, that might be business, but that also might be in your home life, in your relationships. This is a powerful month of change and lots of Scorpio energy, which is intense. But then towards the end of the month, we go into that Sagittarian energy, which is fiery, but not as intense. So Saturn is saying to you, Saturn can be the taskmaster. Saturn is saying to you, you know what you can do. You know what you can do. Whatever it is, do it. Develop your skills. And Taurus also rules habits, letting go of bad habits. So you can see November is a really powerful month of change, lots of Scorpio energy. But then we end, as I said, with the Sagittarius energy. So the other date I wanted to mention, which probably is on a lot of people's minds, is 11/11/2022. So people read it as 11/11/22, but that's not really accurate. It's 11/11/2022, which changes the final number, the final energy of that number. But I will say it still is a huge portal that invites you. I mean, if I can on 11/11, which interestingly was my mom's birthday, I'd like to spend the whole day in meditation because it's that strong. It's a very powerful day. You have triple master numbers. And it's, if you're so inclined and you have a lot of time to just spend again in quietude or meditating on the higher realms, it's going to prove to be really powerful. So as we journey through November, we'll be working with the energies of Mars retrograde, and Mars retrograde can also sometimes make us feel a little bit sluggish, or can, feelings of, oh, I don't know, it's a lot to do. But that Taurus energy and the other energy of Scorpio and Uranus and Pluto and Saturn are all saying get things done. So overall, on one hand, I have to say, I think it's going to be some really great energy. And on the other hand, depending on how people react, especially on election day, it could bring some challenges. So as always, what's a message all the time that I can give is stay as centered as possible. Stay in love as much as possible. Stay in faith and hope as much as possible, and you will definitely reap the positive rewards that this very powerful month is offering us. And I'm pretty sure that's it. So enjoy, right?
Thank you, Michele. I can say this is one of the first months in several months that when I first got online with you, that you didn't say, hi.
Yes.
So I like that part feels good.
Yeah.
You gave us so many positive ways to turn the energy of this month into our own growth and our own transformation and our standing in our own strength and our own power. And when you said you were talking about November 8th, and that energy of I'm going to do what I want to do. And initially my thinking went into almost a victim place while other people were doing what they wanted to do. But then I was kind of working on that while you were talking, and you're talking about what self-disciplines do I need to put into place, staying grounded, working with yourself through that. And then I thought, well, I don't have to be a victim to them standing in their strength. I'm just going to focus on me standing in my strength. And just like horses with blinders on, I'm just going to stay in that place of building up me, staying focused, staying grounded. I'm just going to stay in building my meanness, me-ness up. And people are going to create their realities, and I'm going to create mine.
Right. That sums it up, Ruth. That's pretty concise and pretty to the point. So maybe we could have done this in 2 minutes, right?
Oh, but that's not nearly as much fun.
Yeah, right. But it is going to be interesting on November 8th to see what, what's going on. But of course, all the other energy too. But again, I don't think that, again, dare I say it, that I think money is going to be okay this month. I don't know about going forward because, again, I have to do some real investigation into the numbers for the United States and the world for next year, because that's definitely going to be a shakeup. I can tell you that without a doubt, But what kind of shakeup? Heavy spiritual energy, which is great, right? On one hand, that is fabulous for the people who aren't connected in that way, people who are just still operating out of, as you mentioned, being a victim, being angry, being vengeful. That is not going to work at all. And I think the karmic, which karma is not bad, people put memes out saying, karma is going to get you. Well, karma gets you all the time for your good things. When good things happen to you, it's because of the good that you put out there. So the karmic repercussions, if you're going to stay in hate and anger and victimhood and I'm going to do it my way, I'm thinking that 2023 is going to be a huge backlash. So I'm going to go on record for that because I do believe it's true. So we can use the next month and the following month to really think about how important is it to be angry, to hold resentments. What is that doing to your life? Change that aura, change that energy around you, because you want to go into 2023 with a big open heart. So
no,
we'll talk about that again.
Yeah, I love that. So Michele, you were talking about earthquakes and that energy, and then you were talking about the intensification of emotions. And I was thinking about like the earthquake energy of emotions. But when you think about earthquakes, it's because there's intensified energy that's building up and it needs to be released. So if you take that same thinking with emotions, it's okay to have the intense emotions. It means it's been building up and it needs to be released. It's not foreign emotions coming in. They're your own emotions, wanting to be seen, wanting to be recognized, and wanting to be released. And it's okay. It's actually beneficial to let that.
It's very, and this is a great time to do that because, all of the intense energies astrologically and numerologically that are happening, it's kind of forcing that stuff to come out, to be released. It's like, as you said, the pressure builds underneath, or it's like a pressure cooker. So you got to release that valve. No one's immune. Let me say this. No one's immune from being angry. We get angry, we get triggered, but we have to catch it right away. That's the thing, or process that emotion, process it, work through it. If you're, I've seen a lot of people who have some beautiful spiritual practices and they're afraid of being angry ever because, that's not spiritual. Oh, come on. What is my, it's almost my byline, even Jesus had bad days. So just remember that, it's processing. So I'm glad that you brought that up as well. That's really important. Got to relieve the pressure of it.
Well, and what we've seen time and time again is when we don't relieve that pressure, it can turn on you, and it can turn on you with physical ailments.
Correct.
So, let's not go there, friends.
No, let's not. No, let's not go there. So that pretty much is it. I'm looking forward to seeing what December holds and also the new year, January and the new year. And I did want to mention that I have a couple of new helpful links on when I send out my newsletter. It's not on my website. So if people want to get their November monthly numerology, their personal numerology for November, I have a way that you can figure it out, and then you can see what it's going to be. I also am going to have in my newsletter an interpretation of your life path that you can download. And I'm also going to have in my newsletter a link to holiday shopping by the numbers, which I think is really a fun thing that I created many years ago, and it's pretty accurate. So if you want my newsletter, then send me a little message with newsletter in the subject line to Michele Landers, Michele with one L, at bellsouth.net, and I'll send out that newsletter. It didn't go out yet because I wanted to mention it to people because I thought it was really important. So that's my little gift for this month of gratitude, right?
So I do receive Michele's newsletter, and it is always full of very good content. So it's not just another fluffy email coming through. There's really good stuff on there.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, Michele Landers, thank you so much. Looking forward to living through this month and seeing you again on December 1st. So friends, thanks for being here at Enlightened World Network. Take good care. God bless, and we'll see you soon.